Stop everything you're doing right now. Drop your phone. Actually, don't. Because what I'm about to tell you is the single most explosive revelation in the history of music. We have all been waiting for months. We watched the bars, we analyzed the diss tracks, and we saw the memes. But today, the game has changed forever. Drake, the man who claimed to be untouchable, the Titan of Toronto, the billionaire rapper who never bleeds, has just broken his silence in a way that is so devastating, so gut-wrenching, it has left the entire industry paralyzed. I'm talking about a leaked high-level sit-down interview where a visibly trembling Drake finally utters the words we never thought we'd hear. He got me. And it wasn't because of the music. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. What Drake reveals about the red folder Kendrick Lamar was holding. The secret that forced Drake to effectively surrender is something so dark it makes the entire rap beef look like a distraction. If you think you know why Kendrick won, you are 100% wrong. The truth involves a betrayal from inside Drake's own house that will leave you sick to your stomach. Stay tuned, because the OVO empire isn't just shaking, it's falling, and Drake is the one pulling the lever. To understand the sheer magnitude of this defeat, we have to go back to the beginning. Not just to 2024, but to the decade of simmering resentment that led to this total explosion. For years, the world saw Drake and Kendrick Lamar as the two sons of the hip-hop solar system. One was a hitmaker, the commercial king who owned every chart from New York to Tokyo. The other was a Pulitzer Prize winner, the boogeyman, the lyrical assassin who stayed in the shadows until it was time to strike. This wasn't just a rivalry. It was a Cold War that had been freezing the industry from the inside out since the Control verse in 2013. The world thought it was just about who was the big three. We thought it was about competitive spirit and who had the better flow. But according to new high-level insider reports surfacing from the inner circles of both TD and OVO, this was never a sport. This was a blood feud. Sources close to the situation are now coming forward to reveal that the tension reached a breaking point back in 2023 during a secret, off-the-record meeting in Los Angeles that went horribly wrong. Allegedly, an attempt to squash the beef led to a personal insult so deep involving family secrets and business betrayals that Kendrick Lamar made a silent vow. I won't just outsell him, I will dismantle him. For 3 years, Kendrick was quiet, but we now know he was building an arsenal. The industry knew something was coming. We felt the air get cold when like that dropped, but no one realized that Kendrick wasn't just rapping. He was executing a pre-planned tactical strike. When Euphoria dismantled Drake's entire persona, we saw the first signs of panic in the OVO camp. But the world kept asking, why did Drake's energy shift so drastically? Why did the man who crushed Meek Mill and stayed upbeat against the world suddenly look like he was seeing a ghost in his own reflection? The background to his devastating admission is rooted in a psychological warfare campaign that Kendrick ran with surgical precision. While Drake was playing to cameras and posting on Instagram to maintain his tough guy image, Kendrick was reportedly working with sleeper agents within the industry. People Drake trusted with his life, his finances, and his deepest secrets. This wasn't just a battle of lyrics. It was a siege of the OVO embassy. Kendrick's camp had reportedly been collecting data for years, waiting for the exact moment Drake felt most vulnerable. As we look at the history of these two titans, we see a pattern of Drake attempting to befriend his competition to keep them close, while Kendrick maintained a distance that made him untouchable. This difference in philosophy is exactly what led to the current catastrophe. Drake built an empire based on visibility and proximity, but that proximity allowed the moles to get close enough to see the cracks in the foundation. Kendrick, meanwhile, stayed in the darkness, as he calls it, becoming a mirror that Drake couldn't handle looking into. The industry is now realizing that the war we saw on YouTube and Spotify was only the tip of the iceberg. The real conflict was fought in the dark, through NDAs, leaked private messages, and financial threats. Drake has finally admitted he was outgunned from day one, because he was fighting a rapper, while Kendrick was fighting a war of information. This background is essential because it proves that Drake didn't just lose. He was outplayed by a strategist who knew Drake's moves before he even made them. And now, as the transition from rivalry to revelation begins, the cliffhanger is simple. Who was the first person to switch sides? Now, let's get into the heart of the storm. The conflict didn't end with the Heart Part 6. In fact, while the public thought the fire was dying down, the heat behind the scenes was reaching a level of absolute, unadulterated panic. We're talking about emergency board meetings at record labels and high-level legal teams working 24/7 to suppress what was coming next. But you can't stop a tidal wave with a legal brief. The first major twist, the one that actually broke Drake's spirit and forced him into this devastating admission, involved a leaked audio file that has been circulating among elite music executives and power players for the last 48 hours, and it is chilling. In this leaked clip, which sounds like it was recorded in a frantic late-night session inside the embassy, Drake's voice is unrecognizable, gone as a confident, smooth superstar. Instead, we hear a man in a state of total emotional collapse. He is heard shouting at his closest advisors, his voice cracking as he screams. How do you get the flight manifests? How does he know about the London accounts? Which one of you talked? This confirms the darkest theory out there. Kendrick Lamar didn't just have better bars. He had high-level financial and personal intelligence that was never meant to see the light of day. He had a literal map of Drake's private world, and he was threatening to publish the legend. The scene of the actual admission, the moment Hollywood stopped breathing, happened during a private, unreleased documentary interview. This wasn't meant for us. It was intended for Drake's private archives, a way for him to vent his frustrations. But a disgruntled former staffer, someone who saw the ship sinking and decided to jump, leaked the most devastating segment. In the video, Drake is seen sitting in a dimly lit room, his face pale, his expensive jewelry looking heavy and hollow. He looks up at the interviewer with eyes that have clearly seen no sleep for weeks. He says, "Everyone thinks I stopped because I ran out of things to say. They think I got bored. I stopped because Kendrick sent me a message. Not a song. A message. It was a photo of something inside my own bedroom. Something only I should have seen. That's when I knew. The war was over because he was already inside my house." The room in the video goes silent. You can feel the tension through the screen. Drake continues, his voice a whisper of pure betrayal. "I realized then that my lyrics didn't matter. I could have dropped the greatest song in history, and it wouldn't have saved me. He had my life in a folder, and he was clicking upload. But here is the first massive twist that has sent the OVO camp into a tailspin and turned this from a rap beef into a Shakespearean tragedy. The betrayal didn't come from a rival label. It didn't come from an old enemy like Pusha T or Rick Ross. The person who fed Kendrick the red folder, the person who gave him the keys to Drake's bedroom and his bank accounts, is someone the world considers Drake's brother. Leaked social media metadata and insider pings from the OVO server suggest that the mole is someone who's been by Drake's side since his Degrassi days. Someone who was at every birthday, every award show, and every private celebration. Allegedly, this person was caught in a massive legal scandal involving offshore accounts, and Kendrick's operatives offered them a way out. "Give us the boy, and we'll give you your life back." Drake's reaction to this discovery was reportedly a total mental blackout. Imagine the heartbreak, realizing that while you were writing songs about no new friends, your oldest friend was recording your phone calls and photographing your private documents for your biggest rival. Drake admits in the leak, "I wasn't fighting Kendrick. I was fighting a ghost in my own circle. I was losing to a man who knew my moves before I even thought of them because he was being coached by the person sitting right next to me." This revelation has triggered a great purge within OVO. We've seen reports of staff being fired, locks being changed, and a dark cloud of suspicion hanging over the entire Toronto camp. But the damage is done. Kendrick didn't just win. He occupied the territory. He proved that Drake's security was a myth. Drake finally admits that Kendrick won the war because Kendrick owned the people Drake loved. The devastating truth isn't that Kendrick is a better rapper. It's that Kendrick became the master of Drake's own household. As the industry reels from this betrayal, the question isn't just what happens to Drake, but who is left to trust? If your brother can sell you out for a folder, then the sixth god isn't a god at all. He's just a man standing alone in a very large, very empty mansion. And as we move into the next phase of this nightmare, things are about to get even more legal, even more public, and even more dangerous. Because Kendrick isn't done with that folder yet. The atmosphere in the industry has shifted from curiosity to pure, unadulterated terror. As the news of the OVO mole began to leak through encrypted Telegram groups and private Discord servers used by high-level insiders, the escalation was instantaneous. This wasn't just gossip anymore. It was a total system failure. Within hours, the hashtag OVO explosion began trending globally, only to be mysteriously suppressed and deleted in real time. A move many believe was a last-ditch effort by Drake's $100 million legal defense fund to stop the bleeding. But you cannot stop a wildfire with a glass of water. The second shocking reveal is what truly changed the narrative from a rap battle to a corporate execution. It's not just about the betrayal. It's about the content of that red folder. Leaked reports from sources close to the TD camp suggest that Kendrick Lamar wasn't just holding personal secrets. He was holding the nuclear codes of the music industry. We're talking about evidence of a massive, decade-long cover-up involving major record labels, hidden debt structures, and payola schemes that would make the 1950s scandals look like child's play. Kendrick wasn't just threatening Drake's reputation. He was holding a knife to the throat of the entire financial structure of modern hip-hop. Drake's admission in the leaked documentary footage gets even darker as he describes the pressure. He looks directly into the lens, his voice trembling with a mix of anger and defeat, and says, he told him if I dropped one more track, he wouldn't just reply, he'd drop the global files. He said he was ready to watch the whole industry burn down just to make sure I was the one holding the match. He was willing to go to prison, to lose his own deals, just to ensure my empire turned to dust. How do you fight a man who doesn't care about his own life as long as yours is over? This is a level of boogeyman intensity we are dealing with. Kendrick Lamar was reportedly operating like a high-level intelligence agency. While the world was debating not like us, Kendrick's team was allegedly sending warning shots to Drake's business partners. We've seen leaked internal memos from 3 major Fortune 500 brands that were in the middle of 9-figure renewal contracts with Drake. These memos show a sudden and immediate pause on all branding due to unforeseen reputational risks. Kendrick successfully turned Drake into radioactive material. The social media reaction has been a bloodbath of "I told you so." A series of fake Twitter threads, widely believed to be leaks from the Kendrick camp, started dropping coordinates to locations in Toronto and London. One post, which stayed up for only 3 minutes before being nuked, showed a screenshot of a bank wire transfer from an OVO-affiliated account to a mysterious shell company in the Cayman Islands with the caption, "We see the paper trail, Aubrey. Do you want the IRS to see it too?" The psychological toll on Drake has been immense. Insider sources say he hasn't been seen outside the embassy in days, and the Iceman rollout has been completely derailed because the team is too busy answering subpoenas and legal threats. But the most chilling part of this escalation? The clock symbol. Across Los Angeles and New York, mysterious billboards appeared overnight with nothing but a countdown clock and a red folder icon. No names, no logos, just the time ticking down. The industry is in a state of pre-traumatic stress. Every rapper who has ever done a deal with Drake, every executive who has ever cleared a sample for him, is now looking over their shoulder. They realize that if Kendrick has the red folder on the king, he has it on the entire court. Drake's final words in this section of the leak are what will haunt fans forever. He whispers to the interviewer, "I thought I was the one who controlled the narrative. I thought I was the one who decided when it ended. But Kendrick showed me that I've been living in a house he built for me. I'm not the sixth god. I'm just a tenant." This reveal has completely flipped the script. The victory lap for Kendrick isn't even about the music anymore. It's about the total surrender of a titan. But as the countdown on those billboards hits the final hours, a new question arises. Is Kendrick actually going to release the folder, or is the threat of the folder the real weapon? The cliffhanger is no longer about who won. It's about who survives the fallout. And just when you think it couldn't get more devastating, a third party has entered the chat, and they have a message for both of them. The world is currently in a state of absolute, unmitigated chaos. The digital landscape hasn't just been shaken, it has been scorched. As the details of Drake's devastating admission filter through the cracks of the OVO firewall, the public reaction has been a violent collision of denial, heartbreak, and savage celebration. This isn't just a trend. It is a cultural schism that has divided the music world into 2 warring factions. On one side, you have the OVO loyalists, a fan base that has spent a decade treating Drake as an infallible deity. They are currently in a state of total, frantic denial. Across Twitter and TikTok, thousands of accounts are desperately claiming that the leaked interview is a deep fake or a TD-funded AI operation designed to sabotage the Iceman rollout. One viral thread, which garnered over 5 million views in 2 hours, attempted to prove that the audio frequency of Drake's voice in the leak didn't match his biological vocal patterns. But the denial is starting to taste like copper. When Drake's own verified burner account reportedly liked, and then instantly unliked, a post saying, "It's over, just let it go," the panic among his supporters turned into a funeral march. Contrast that with the Kendrick disciples, who are treating this like a spiritual victory. The streets of Compton and even the high rises of New York have seen impromptu victory rallies. The narrative has shifted from who is the better rapper to who is the better man. A high-profile music critic posted a statement that sent the industry into a tailspin. "We are witnessing the first time a billionaire was defeated not by a better flow, but by a superior moral code. Kendrick Lamar is the Oppenheimer of hip-hop, and Drake just realized he's standing at ground zero of his own legacy." But the most telling reactions aren't coming from the fans. They're coming from the industry titans. The silence from Hollywood is deafening. A-list actors, NBA superstars, and fashion moguls who once treated the embassy like a sanctuary are now scrubbing their digital footprints. Rumors are swirling that LeBron James' inner circle has indefinitely paused all public associations with OVO to avoid the red folder contagion. Even more shocking is the betrayal of the collaborators. Reports have surfaced that 3 major artists who were featured on Drake's upcoming album have sent formal cease and desist orders to OVO, demanding their verses be removed before the project drops. They don't want to be on a sinking ship when the federal investigators, or Kendrick's next message, arrive. The news outlets are fueled by the fire. Major networks like CNN and TMZ have reportedly assigned war rooms to monitor the 24-hour cycle of this collapse. A leaked memo from a top-tier record executive suggests that the labels are preparing for a post-Drake economy. The statement in the memo was cold. The asset has become a liability. The sixth god is now a risk factor. This division has created a toxic environment where everyone is forced to pick a side. Prominent streamers like Aiden Ross and Kai Cenat have seen their chat rooms turn into battlegrounds, with Team Kendrick and Team OVO clashing so hard that moderators have had to shut down entire broadcasts. But amidst the noise, one reaction stands out: a single cryptic Instagram story from J. Cole. It was just a black screen with the text, "I saw the storm coming. I'm glad I'm under a roof." This fueled even more controversy, as fans now realize that J. Cole's apology and exit from the beef wasn't an act of cowardice. It was an act of survival. He knew about the red folder. He knew Drake was compromised. As the industry turns its back on the man who once gave everyone a Drake feature to save their careers, the irony is soul-crushing. Drake finally admitted that he feels isolated, and now the world is making sure that isolation is permanent. But as the public continues to tear itself apart, the most dangerous part of this reaction is the uncertainty. The red folder hasn't even been fully opened yet, and has already ended the biggest career in music history. The question everyone is asking is, if Drake fell this easily, who is truly safe? The fire is spreading, and the next person to get burned might be the one you least expect. Just when you think the floor has dropped out from under the OVO empire, a new revelation has surfaced that makes everything we've discussed look like a mere rehearsal for the end of the world. As Drake's devastating admission echoes through the halls of the industry, the final twist has arrived, and it doesn't just change the war, it changes the history of music as we know it. In the final, most guarded minutes of the leaked documentary footage, Drake is seen leaning into the microphone, his voice a ragged whisper of pure, unadulterated terror. He looks past the interviewer, staring into a corner of the room as if he's seen a ghost. He says, "The worst part? Kendrick isn't the one I'm afraid of anymore. He told me who really gave him the folder. He told me who's been the architect behind my downfall since the day I signed my first contract. And it's someone the world thinks is dead." The screen in the leak flickers for a second, a glitch in the file that seems almost too intentional. Drake continues, "All those years I thought I was the one making the moves. I was just a pawn in a game played by a ghost." Kendrick didn't find that folder. It was delivered to him with a note that said, Finish it. The same person who built me is the one who decided it was time for me to go. The industry has been thrown into a state of existential panic. Who could Drake be talking about? Is he referring to a legendary executive who disappeared from the public eye? Or is he hinting at a much darker, much older power within the music industry? A silent king who decides when a star's light must be extinguished? The theories are already spiraling out of control. Some are pointing to the mysterious disappearance of a high-level producer from the 90s, while others are convinced that Kendrick Lamar has been working with a shadow government of hip-hop legends who decided that Drake's commercial dominance was finally a threat to the culture itself. But the cliffhanger that has everyone paralyzed is what happened just 10 minutes ago. A mysterious website, linked directly to the coordinate billboard we saw earlier, went live for exactly 60 seconds. On that site was a single image, a digital scan of a 2009 contract with Drake's signature, but next to it was a second signature in red ink that was blurred out. Underneath the image was a countdown timer that doesn't end in days or hours. It ends in minutes. And here's the kicker. Kendrick Lamar's secondary Instagram page just posted a single emoji, a scorpion being crushed by an owl, but the owl is being held by a shadowy hand. The message is clear. Kendrick wasn't the final boss. He was the executioner. The real war is only just beginning, and the red folder contains information that doesn't just end Drake's career. It threatens to take down every major label head, every streaming mogul, and every titan who thought they were untouchable. The drama isn't over. It's evolving into a global scandal. Drake has admitted his defeat, but he has also opened a door that can never be closed again. As the countdown on the website hits its final cycle, the question is no longer, why did Kendrick win? The question is, who is pulling Kendrick's strings, and who is the next name in the folder? The shadows are moving. The boogeyman is still smiling. And the world is about to find out that the sixth god was just the first name on a very long, very dark list. You need to stay tuned, because what happens next will make this admission look like a bedtime story. The era of lies is over. The era of the Shadow King has begun. This is a moment that will be studied for decades. Drake has admitted it. The war is won. The crown is gone, and the fallout is just beginning. But the biggest question remains. Who is the ghost Drake is so terrified of? And what is the final secret hidden in that red folder? I want to hear your theories in the comments right now. Don't hold back. Is the industry finally being purged, or is this a massive setup? If you believe Kendrick has truly ended the OVO era, drop a crown in the comments. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. We are working around the clock to identify that dead man Drake mentioned. And our next update is going to feature a leaked document that will change everything. You do not want to miss what we found. Stay hype, stay curious, and remember, in this game, the truth is the deadliest weapon of all. See you in the next one.